my wife's having a few drinks, on a Friday night, and I want to, smoke up a bit, I really don't see the issue there, because I don't mind that she drinks. That's not a factor at all. I guess doing the half the time that I kind of feel like she's partaking, and I should be able to as well.
What's up, David?
So to give you some background, I met my wife in June of 21, got married in January 2023, so we're almost at our 2-year anniversary. And before I met my wife, I was a pretty rabid alcoholic/gambling addict. And I was clean for about 2 years prior to meeting her. So when I met her, she would drink, I would use cannabis, no issue. But as I started telling her more about, like recovery, watching intervention, stuff like that, I like shows like that. She was like, oh, wow, like, you shouldn't be using anything. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, when I went to rehab back in 2018, you meet a lot of people that say, I don't know what your thoughts are, but basically, if you're an addict, you shouldn't be doing anything at all. You should be totally sober. And I would say 90% of people I've met or healthcare professionals agree with that. I'm almost 6 years sober in those two issues in February, and now my wife's on my case quite a bit. She just thinks I shouldn't do anything. It's like taking a big risk, and it's starting to annoy me and cause a little bit of issues. So I was kind of curious to get your, feedback on that. Everything else is great. It's just this one little issue that it's kind of causing bigger issues.
How much of her, to use your words, being on your case is about weed, and how much of it is she loses her husband or her husband checks out?
Well, I guess that's fair. It says like I'm not present. I guess would be something she has said.
Those are her words, right?
Which is fair. And I guess here in Canada, like we do have it legalized. That's something I used, to be honest with you, a crutch when I quit drinking back in 2019. And they just legalized it.
Well, so
yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point for sure.
Two things are important about the reason most people say if you're going to be sober, you got to be sober from everything. One reason is I've got a couple of friends. If they have one beer, they will disappear on a 3-day Coke bender. Because it just hits a domino that one beer turns into 6 beers, turns into who's got cocaine, turns into where's so-and-so, right? So that's one, that all these things are dominoes. So I got to stop everything. I can't drink a glass of wine. I'm not going to touch champagne. I can't go into that world, period. The other reason most people will say you have to abstain, you have to live a life that is sober is otherwise, you just trade one addiction for another, for another, for another. And so my question to you, just like as a buddy, just as a guy sitting across the table having nachos is like, all right, gambling helps you feel alive in your own skin. Alcohol helps you not feel pain in your own skin. What is weed giving you? If your wife uses the words not present, checks out, then there's something about you being in your own skin that you don't like. What is that?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, I've been in the military here in Canada, and, it's the only thing I can really do. Yeah. Maybe if I wasn't... I know, to be honest with you, like, I'm just saying, like, I feel like that's something that I could get my hands on that's not going to get me in trouble with work, so I do it. Mm-hmm. But also, too, like, it's probably a bad answer, but, my wife's having a few drinks, on a Friday night, and I want to, smoke up a bit. I really don't see the issue there, because I don't mind that she drinks. That's not a factor at all. Like, while I'm sober, but that's something that really, I guess, doing the half the time that I kind of feel like she's partaking, and I should be able to as well, I guess would be how I feel about that.
Yeah, and I guess the scorekeeping is going to be some relational baggage, man. It's just going to be hard to overcome. I should be able to, man, if you struggle with alcohol, man, you just don't get to anymore. My understanding, which is limited, to what some of you guys in the Canadian military are experiencing is very, very challenging. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Okay. Just from a personal standpoint, I'd love to see you get to the root of that, or to come up with some strategy. And if it ends up just being that, then it just ends up being that, right? I'm not in your shoes, and I'm not gonna throw grenades at you. But there's something that's underlying that. The bigger thing is it sounds to me, without talking to your wife, that she's able to point at the weed She's able to point it at legal cannabis, but it sounds like what she's telling you is, I miss you, and you go away. My wife tells me the same thing because I'm a workaholic. And she'll use the same words your wife does, which is, you're not present. You're sitting at our kitchen table and your head's 1,000 miles away from here. And
that's something I hadn't considered for sure. Yeah,
I have to consciously have a ritual to leave work at work. I have to say no to money. I have to say no to projects because my wife is saying, I miss you. You're not here. The kids miss you. Your family, your life is missing you. And so if I have a job that I have to do and I have to medicate my regular life outside of my work so that I can get through it, man, I really would love to get to the bottom of that.
That's a really good point. And the funny thing is, we're both actually retiring in a couple of months, kind of forced out on medical. So we're going to have work won't be a thing there anymore. We're going to kind of have the ability to travel and do whatever we want. And maybe this might just be the addict in me talking, but I feel like as soon as I have that, kind of out of a work position, I'm not really crazy about. I know I say that, but I'm saying right now, that's how it feels to me.
Sure.
So when I have that ability, I'm not really going to have that need anymore. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I got a couple more months, but then it's still obviously causing a bit of tension.
Did you not drink before you got in the military?
No, I drank. I joined at 17, so it's kind of hard to tell you, So I've been doing the military for 18 years now. It's all I've done.
Oh, okay, it's all you know.
The military, you really get to build. And you can be alcoholic in the military, no problem.
Sure.
The gambling thing kind of cycled with me from when taking my first bet. Within a year, I was in rehab. That hit me like a truck. So yeah, and the funny thing is, without never developing the gambling addiction, I would still be drinking today. But I don't know, I never felt like I had a problem with alcohol, which is strange to say. But looking back, I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. Well, with gambling, you win and lose $100,000 a day. You realize you have a problem pretty quick. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and so
no,
I don't want to overgeneralize here, but the people I've spent time with who are both veterans and the people who I've spent time in the recovery community, which is a bunch on both sides of those, and you happen to fit in both of those camps. If I was to distill down one central challenge they both have, that is the ability to believe that somebody else would love them just for them, not for what utility they provide. And I'm wondering if your wife is looking at the man that she loves and she said, I ride or die till the end of time. I will be by your side. After 6 years, I miss you, and B, I'm losing you.
No, that's good. There's probably something else I should mention. It's going to make me sound like not a great dude. But when she brings this up to me, I kind of just default and say, well, you know what? You can just leave. If you're so not, I know it's wrong. I know it's, especially from a wife who tells me she has abandonment issues in the past and, her childhood. And I know that's the worst thing I can say, but I'm like, holy, just kind of what you're saying, if you're not going to take me from me, then what do you, which I know is a horrible thing to say. I'm not
no. She's trying to take you for you. And you keep trying to talk to her through a green haze.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
She's trying to come get you. That weed is not you. That weed is you protecting yourself. And you lashing out at that woman is not. That's you trying to protect yourself.
Yeah, and I'm just, it's funny because you can come up with anything to rationalize and be like, well, at least you didn't know me when I used to drink, or at least when I used to drink.
But you know that as well as I do. That's stupid. You know that, yeah.
Oh, no, it's true. No, I do.
Here's what, if you were my buddy here in town, you know what I'd tell you to do? Use the last 6 months in the armed forces to do recovery on their dime and just try. And you'll probably find yourself
going back to a facility, you mean, or do you mean just in terms of resources?
I don't know what resources they have. I don't know. I don't know resources in Canadian military, but if they've got meetings, if they got places where you can go, here's what I'd love you to try. I would love you to try to get sober, stone sober, with the resources and the structure that the military is going to provide you. Because you're telling yourself a story that's not true, which is once you are free from this structure, that then things you're going to unspool rapidly. And unless you have a very systematic transition plan that very few veterans have, if you're just waiting for the day to get done so you can ride your motorcycle free and go, I can do whatever I want, I can wear whatever I want, and grow my hair however I want,
I do feel that way, yes.
It's going to be a rude awakening. You got 20 years of somebody telling you when to jump and how high. And freedom is amazing, and it's unsettling for your nervous system. And dude, you think that's when you're going to come off? Bro.
No.
I would love to see you try to get sober with structure right now. And if it is painful and you find yourself lashing out and you find yourself angry and you can't sleep, that is the alarm bells that you need to run towards, not away from.
Okay, no, that's a good point. I always do feel the need. I need to be doing something, which I know is, it's addiction coming in a different form. But no, that's good advice. And I do have some time left before I'll be, out and be able and not have those resources. So no, that's pretty clear cut advice. I don't think there's too much gray there.
Well,
sure.
I mean, the single greatest, what do you call it? Rationalizers I know in the planet are my closest loved ones, my friends that are in the recovery community. They can get me believing that the sky is red. Like they are so good at just twisting reality in a way. I'm like, I think you're right. It looks blue to me, but I'm pretty sure it's red. Like they're just the best rationalizers on the planet. And so,
that's fair.
Yeah, just speaking as black and white as I can, dude. And by the way, you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm not going to be there with you. You can do what you want to do. I would just ask 3 things. Number 1, never threaten your wife with separation. It's cold. It's cruel, man. Don't do that. Be a better man than that. The second thing is be intentional about what y'all are going to build together. Something that you are not going to run from the military. You're going to build something that you're going to go towards. What is it? A small business, traveling, a new adventure. We're going to have kids finally. Like what? I don't know what the thing is, but go towards it. And the third thing is, while you still have an alarm clock on you that you got to wake up for, man, I would love to see you get stone sober for 6 months and really deal with the demons. Because going from gambling hundreds of thousands of dollars to alcohol since you're 17 to daily weed, like, man, it just tells me your body is wrestling with some kind of demon. And the weed keeps it quiet. The weed works. The gambling works for a minute till it burns your house down. Alcohol works, man. Whew. I'd love to see you live a life where you're just free. You drink coffee in the morning because you want to. You just fall asleep at night because you're tired. You and your wife just have wild, passionate lovemaking and adventures and dinners and meals because y'all like each other. Not because you're living a life that you have to be half asleep